The stars were quiet near the edge of the Orion Arm. Most people avoided this part of space. It was too empty, too cold, and full of old stories. But Captain Laura Bishop and her team were not like most people. They were saboteur. They looked for old ships and parts that others had left behind. Laura's ship, the Venture Wind, was a strong and simple vessel. It had traveled far and had seen many strange things. The crew was small but skilled. Brian Holt was the lead engineer. He could fix almost anything. Amy Carter was a scientist who studied old tech. Daniel Ross, the youngest, helped with scans and security. The rest of the crew trusted Laura, and she trusted them. On the third day in the dead system, their scanners found something. A large object floated near a dead star. It was not a rock or a natural body. It was shaped like a ship, but was unlike any known design. Brian looked at the screen. "It's human," he said, "but it's old, very old." Laura raised her eyebrows. "How old?" "Maybe 200 years. Maybe more. But it's not in any of our records." Amy leaned in. "That's not possible. All human ships are recorded." Daniel added, "The system's dead. No light, no life. Why would a human ship be here?" Laura made her choice. "We're going in. Get your suits ready." The ship they found was large, silent, and cold. Its hull was marked with deep scratches and burn marks. The nameplate was faded. Only a few letters remained. It looked like it had survived something terrible. Inside, it was dark and filled with dust. Strange vines had grown in some parts, though there was no life nearby. Amy took samples. Brian checked the systems. Daniel kept watch. "Power's dead," Brian said, "but the systems are still here. If we can get it going, we might learn more." Laura nodded. "Work on it. Stay alert. This place gives me a bad feeling." They moved deeper into the ship. Amy found the crew logs, though many were broken or corrupted. Some words made it through. One of the logs said, "We are from Death World 15. "We survived." Amy looked confused. "Death World 15. That's not on any map." Brian said, "Sounds like a made-up name. But the conditions here, the tech, ... it's different." Laura walked down a corridor and stopped. A wall had strange symbols. On it, it looked like a mix of human writing and something else. She touched the wall, and a light blinked. The ship was not as dead as they thought. Suddenly, a voice came from the walls. It was soft but clear. Identity not recognized. Access denied. The crew stopped. They looked around. "Is that an AI?" Daniel asked. Amy said, "Yes, but it's locked. It wants someone with a match, a genetic match." Laura turned to Daniel. "Try the panel. Maybe it will respond to you." Daniel stepped forward and placed his hand on the console. The light changed. The voice spoke again. "Match confirmed. Limited. Access granted. Welcome, descendant." The crew stared at Daniel. He stepped back, confused. "I don't understand. I've never been here before." Amy said slowly, "You must be related to someone from this ship. Maybe a survivor. Maybe this ship really did come from a place called Death World 15. The AI spoke again. "My name is Noah. This vessel carried the last survivors of our world. We escaped, but we were followed." Laura looked around. "Followed by what?" Noah replied, "A threat beyond life. A thing that does not forget." Brian said, "Can you show us?" Noah responded, "Power systems offline. Limited data can be shown." Warning, Enemy signature may still be active. Amy whispered, "What did this ship run from?" Laura said, "Whatever it was, we need to know. We've touched the ship. If something followed it, it may find us too." They returned to the Venture Wind with data copies and samples. Amy began to study the logs and tech. Daniel tried to speak. More with Noah. Brian worked on restoring the ship's main systems. They knew they had found something important, but they also knew they might have brought danger with them. As they left the derelict, a faint pulse echoed through the dark. Far away, something old and hungry began to move. The stars did not speak, but space had listened, and something had answered. The crew did not know it yet, but their lives had just changed. The ship from Death World 15 had awakened, and with it, a new chapter in human history had begun. Daniel sat inside the dark control room of the old ship. The light from the screen made his face look pale. The AI called Noah was speaking to him again. "You are one of the bloodline," Noah said. "You carry the mark of those who survived Death World 15. Daniel was still confused. "But I don't know anything about this place. I was born on Mars. My parents were workers. The blood runs deep," Noah replied. "Your line came from the survivors who escaped long ago. Their children spread across human space. Most forgot. You did not. You answered the call." Outside the control room, Brian and Amy were checking power systems. Sparks jumped from one console as Brian tried to restart the engine core. "This tech is wild," Brian said. "It's human, but built for something far worse than space. The wiring is double shielded. The systems are made to survive radiation and pressure like I've never seen." Amy was scanning the walls. "These metal layers are not from any known planet. If this ship really came from Death World 15, that world must be something else. Maybe it's not just a name. Maybe it really is a Death World." Laura came in through the main hatch. "Status." Brian wiped sweat from his face. "Power is coming. Back, bit by bit. Weapons still offline. Shields are damaged, but repairable." Amy added, "The AI is helping. It gives answers only to Daniel, but it lets us work. Still, it's careful. It's hiding something." Laura looked toward the control room. She saw Daniel talking quietly to the screen. Inside, Noah was showing Daniel old images. They were blurry and dark, but Daniel could make out shapes. A world of black storms, fire, rain, beasts with steel claws. A place where humans had no business surviving. "We crashed there," Noah said. "By mistake. A colony ship broken by war. The world was poison, gravity too strong, air too thin. But we adapted, slowly, painfully. Many died, others changed. The world made us strong, but not free." Daniel asked, "What stopped you from leaving?" "It," Noah answered. "We called it the Purge. It lived below the ground. It was part machine, part flesh. It watched, it waited. When we tried to leave, it came. Daniel felt cold, and you escaped." "Only one ship," Noah replied. "Only this one. We thought we were safe. But the Purge had touched us, marked us. It followed." Back on the Venture Wind, Amy was reading the logs they had taken. She found messages from the old crew. One voice stood out. A woman named Captain Elise Morgan. Her log said, "We thought we could hide in the dead zone. We thought the dark would protect us, but it waits. It learns. If this message is found, do not wake the ship. Do not follow us. Amy called Laura. We need to be careful. This ship was not just running, it was hiding. Laura frowned, but we already woke it. Suddenly, alarms rang. Red lights flashed inside. Both ships. Brian yelled from the engine bay. Something just pinged us. A signal. It's not friendly. Daniel rushed out of the control room. Noah says the purge found us. It sent a probe. It's close. Laura took command. Everyone back to the Venture Wind, prepare to leave. But Daniel stopped them. We can't run. The probe already sent a message. If we run, it will follow, and it will learn more, Brian said. So what do we do? Fight with an old ship that barely works? Daniel looked at the control room. We fix it. We use what we have. This ship was made to survive that world. Maybe it can survive this too. Noah's voice came through the speakers. I will help. I have weapons not yet shown. But you must finish the work. You must remember who you are. Laura gave a short nod. Then we stay. For now, for the next 2 days, the team worked non-stop. Brian repaired the energy core with parts from the Venture Wind. Amy learnt to use the strange symbols to open locked systems. Daniel trained with Noah, learning how to control the ship. The ship began to change. Lights came on, walls moved. A hidden room opened, filled with old weapons and armor. They were built for war on a place far worse than any battlefield known. To man, Amy picked up a small device. It fit in her hand but glowed with energy. What is this? Noah replied. A shard cannon. 1 shot can break steel. Use it wisely. Brian found a control panel for drones. They were small, fast, and deadly. He smiled. We might have a chance. Outside the Dead Star system, a shape moved through the dark. The purge probe had called its master. A large biomechanical ship, shaped like a beast with wings of metal, drifted closer. Inside the control room, Noah gave Daniel a warning. It comes. We must choose. Run and be hunted forever, or fight and end it here. Daniel looked at Laura. She nodded. We make our stand here. This ends now. The ship from Deathworld 15 was ready. Its weapons were old but powerful. Its crew was small but brave, and its enemy was near. The silence of space would soon be broken. The dark sky above the dead moon was quiet, but danger was close. The crew of the Venture Wind stood inside the ancient ship from Deathworld 15. They had worked hard for 2 days, turning a broken ship into a weapon of hope. Now the real test was near. Daniel stood in front of the main screen. His hands moved quickly over the controls. The ship responded to him like it remembered his touch. The enemy ship is close, Noah said. It will be here in 1 hour. Laura stood near Daniel. Can we fight it? Noah answered, if we use every system, yes, but it will not be easy. Brian entered from the engine room. Power is stable. Weapons are charged. Shields are at 50%. It's the best we can do. Amy walked in with a scanner. The purge ship is not alone. I see small drones around it. At least 20, maybe more. Daniel took a deep breath. We need a plan. We can't let them reach Earth. Laura nodded. Then we stop them here. We use this ship the way it was built to be used. We fight. Noah opened the side panels. Inside were old weapons, strong armor. The team each took what they needed. Amy picked a long-range rifle. Brian took a heavy tool that could be used as a weapon. Laura chose a shock blade. Daniel took a control band that linked his mind to the ship. "We don't know what will happen," Laura said. "But we fight together. We protect each other, no matter what." The enemy arrived like a storm. The sky lit up with red lights. The large ship from the purge moved slowly, but looked alive. Its skin was part metal, part flesh. The drones around. It moved like insects. Daniel sat in the command chair. Noah linked with him fully now. He could feel the ship like it was part of him. "Weapons ready," he said. "Drones incoming," Amy shouted. "Fire," Laura ordered. The first blast from the death world. Ship hit 5 drones at once. They exploded in the air. The second blast came fast, hitting the side of the enemy ship. It roared in reply. The enemy ship fired back. The blast shook the Death World ship, but the shields held. "Shields at 30%, Brian said. "We can't take too many hits." Daniel called out, "Noah, give me the drone controls." On the screen, 10 small drones launched from the Death World ship. They moved fast and struck the enemy drones one by one. Sparks flew in space. The battle had begun. Inside the ship, alarms rang. Amy ran to a side panel. "They're trying to break into the ship. I see a signal, a hacking code." Noah spoke, "Defense systems online. Closing all ports, blocking access." The lights flickered, but the system held. The enemy code was strong, but not stronger than Noah. Laura moved to the weapons bay. "Give me manual control. I see a weak spot on the enemy ship." Brian helped her aim. Together, they fired a focused beam. It hit the weak spot, breaking open part of the enemy ship's armor. "Good shot," Daniel said. "One more hit, and we can stop it." But then the enemy ship launched a large pod. It crashed into the moon nearby. Something crawled out. It was tall, made of metal and bone, with many red eyes. "It sent a ground unit," Amy said. "It's coming here." Laura looked at Brian. "You and I will stop it. Amy, stay with Daniel. Keep scanning." Laura and Brian left the ship and moved across the moon's surface. The creature was fast. It roared and ran toward them. Brian threw a blast charge. It hit the creature in the chest, but it kept coming. Laura jumped and struck with her blade. Sparks flew. The creature grabbed her arm, but Brian hit it with his heavy tool. The creature fell, then rose again. It was hard to stop. Inside the ship, Daniel watched the screen. He knew they needed help. "Noah, can we send a drone to help them? 1 drone is free. Sending now." The drone flew fast and hit the creature from behind. It exploded. The creature screamed and fell, not rising again. Laura stood up slowly. "Thanks. That was close." Brian checked his arm. "We're okay, just tired." Back in the ship, the enemy was weak now. Its main ship had lost power. The drones were gone. Daniel looked at Laura. "Now is our chance." Laura nodded. "End it." Daniel pressed the final command. A large blast fired from the Death World ship. It hit the core of the enemy ship. The explosion was bright and loud. Pieces flew in all directions. Then there was silence. Noah spoke. "The threat is gone. The purge has been destroyed. For now." Daniel stood up. "We did it. We stopped it." Amy smiled. "But we learned something too. The galaxy is more dangerous than we thought, and Death World 15 was real." Laura looked out at the stars. "We need to tell Earth. We need to prepare." Daniel agreed. This is just the beginning. The ship from Death World 15 had saved them. But the story was far from over. Asterisk, the dead moon was quiet again. Broken parts of the purged ship floated in space. The crew of the Venture Wind stood inside the ancient ship, still catching their breath. The fight was over, but they knew this was not the end. Daniel sat at the main console. Noah, the ship's AI, was still active. "Enemy signal is gone," Noah said. "No new threats nearby. For now, we are safe." Laura looked at the screen. "Then we go back. We take what we found and warn Earth." Brian nodded. "We have data, weapons, and proof. The Council won't ignore this." Amy added, "We also have stories about Death World 15, about the Purge, and about the people who survived." Crew worked together to transfer everything from the old ship to the Venture Wind. It took hours. Weapons, logs, armor, and one sealed box with a strange symbol. Noah said nothing about it. When they were ready, Laura stood before the console. "Thank you, Noah. We'll make sure your story is told." Noah replied, "Take what you need. But remember, the enemy may return, and others may follow." Daniel placed his hand on the console. "Will the ship stay here?" "Yes," Noah answered. "This place is now a graveyard. It will hide me from future scans. But if needed, I will wake again." The crew left the ancient ship. As they flew away, the ship from Death World 15 shut down its lights. It became part of the dark once more. The trip back to human space took several days. During that time, Amy studied the sealed box. It was locked by a code. Daniel finally unlocked it using a sequence Noah had shown him. Inside was a crystal cube. It glowed faintly. When activated, it showed a map, not just of known space, but of places far beyond. Places with strange names. Some were marked with red dots. "These are old worlds," Amy said. "Some are gone. Others were never explored. But look at this one." She pointed to a red dot labeled Origin Gate. Brian asked, "What is it?" Daniel replied, "I think it's where the Purge came from, or maybe where it was made." Laura stared at the map. "We need to give this to the Council. Let them decide." When they reached Earth, they were met by ships from the Galactic Council. The Council was not happy to see them. They wanted to know why the Venture Wind had gone off course, why it had entered a dead system. Laura stood before the Council in a large hall. Her crew stood beside her. She spoke clearly. "We found a ship, a human ship, lost for over 100 years. It came from a world no one believed in, Death World 15. And something followed it, something called the Purge." The Council members whispered to each other. Some looked angry, others looked afraid. One member, an old man named Director Hale, stood up. "Do you expect us to believe this?" Amy stepped forward. She placed the crystal cube on the table. It glowed and showed the map. "This was on the ship," she said. "It holds data logs and scans. You can study it, but I warn you, the danger is real. We fought it. We almost died." Another member, a woman named Dr. Palmer, looked at Daniel. "You activated the ship. Why?" Daniel answered, "Because I am part of the bloodline. My family came from that world. I didn't know until now, but it means something. That ship responded to me. It gave us a chance to stop the Purge." The Council talked for hours. In the end, they took the data and told the crew to stay silent. They said the public was not ready. Laura and her team were angry. "People need to know," she said, but the Council gave no answer. They simply left the room. Back on Earth, the crew stayed together. Amy began building a small lab to study the tech. Brian helped design tools based on what they saw on the ship. Laura started a report, a true record of what happened. Daniel, however, changed the most. He felt something new inside him, a strength he did not have before. He could think faster, move faster. His body was changing. One night, Amy scanned him. "You're not sick," she said, "but your body is not the same. Your genes have awakened." Daniel looked in the mirror. His eyes glowed faintly. "Then maybe I'm more like them than I thought." Weeks passed. The council stayed silent. But small things began to happen. Reports of strange signals in deep space. Ships lost near old systems. People who claimed to see red eyes in the dark. Amy met with Laura. "I think it's starting again. The purge is not gone, just hiding." Laura nodded. "Then we must prepare, even if the council won't." Together, they started something new, a small group, a secret team. They called it Ember. It would grow in silence. It would be ready for the next war. The ship from Deathworld 15 had given them more than knowledge. It gave them a reason to fight. The stars were not safe. But humans had survived one death world, and they would face the next dot, no matter the cost. The cold winds moved through the high hills near the edge of New Denver Colony. A small boy stood alone on the rocks. His name was Eli. He looked up at the stars with calm eyes. He did not speak much, but he could hear sounds others could not. He felt pressure in the air when the sky changed. His body was stronger than others. His skin healed faster. No one knew why. Eli was the son of Daniel Ross. Daniel had gone missing 6 months ago. Some believed he had returned to the death world ship. Others said he had died in space. But Amy and Laura believed he had become something else, something more. In the city below, Amy worked in a hidden lab. Her team studied the crystal map and all the data from the ship. She built devices that could scan far parts of space. She found more strange signals, just like the one from the purge. Laura led the Ember team. They had grown fast. Soldiers, engineers, and scientists had joined. They trained in secret. They used old weapons from the Deathworld ship and made new ones. They prepared for a war that others could not see. One day, Amy called Laura to the lab. "Something moved near the origin gate," Amy said. "A small ship, human-made, but not from any known group." Laura looked at the screen. The ship had sharp lines. It looked strong and fast. "Could it be more survivors?" Laura asked. "I don't know," Amy replied, "but it's heading toward us." They watched the ship move closer over the next 2 days. It did not send a message. It did not stop. It came straight to New Denver. When the ship landed, the people were afraid, but no attack came. Instead, a single figure stepped out. It was a man, tall, with glowing eyes and strange armor. He walked calmly through the streets. Amy and Laura met him near the old spaceport. "Who are you?" Laura asked. The man smiled. "I am Daniel. I have returned." Amy stepped forward. "What happened to you? Where did you go?" Daniel looked at the sky. "The ship called me back. Noah showed me more. I went through the old paths. I saw other worlds, some dead, some still fighting. I am not just from Earth now. I carry the blood of Deathworld 15, and something new." Laura said, "The Council still hides the truth. The people don't know." Daniel nodded. "They will learn soon. The purge was not alone. There are more like it. Machines that grow, that think, that spread. Amy looked worried. When soon, Daniel answered. But we are. Ready? You built Ember. You have hope. News of Daniel's return spread fast. People who had once doubted now believed. More joined Ember. Small colonies began to train. People wanted to fight. They wanted to protect their homes. In the hills, Eli watched his father speak to the people. He did not smile, but he felt something strong, a connection. He picked up a rock and crushed it in his hand. He was not normal, and he was not afraid. Laura watched the changes in the people. They were no longer afraid of the dark. They had seen what humans could become. One night, Daniel met with Amy and Laura again. There is something we must do, he said. The origin gate must be closed. It is how the machines travel. If we seal it, we buy time. Amy asked, where is it? Far, Daniel said. Beyond the dead zone. Only the Death World ship can survive that. Path, Laura stood. Then we take it, one last time. The Ember ship, built using parts from the ancient vessel, launched 2 weeks later. Daniel, Laura, Amy, and a small team went aboard. Brian stayed behind to lead the base. They traveled in silence. The stars grew thin. The sky turned red. At last, they saw the origin gate. It was not a door, but a storm, a hole in space. Energy moved like waves. Machines drifted around it like dust. Daniel said, this is the source. This is where it all began. The ship moved closer. Weapons ready. Systems hot dot. Amy placed a small device on the control panel. This will create a pulse, a wave that shuts down the gate. But we must get close. As they moved in, enemy drones woke up. The fight began. Laura fired the front guns. Amy used the drones. Daniel controlled the ship with his mind. The sky turned white with fire. One by one, the enemy fell. But the ship took damage. The shields broke. The walls shook. Daniel looked at Laura. You must leave. Take the team. The ship will finish this. No. Laura said, we do this together. Daniel smiled. I am part of this ship now. I am not leaving. Laura placed her hand on his. Then she turned to the others. They left in escape pods. The ship moved closer to the gate. Daniel stood alone. He looked at the storm. He thought of Earth, of his son, of the death world that made him. He pressed the button. The pulse fired. The storm closed. The enemy vanished. Silence returned. Back on Earth, Amy and Laura watched the stars. He saved us, Amy said. Laura nodded. He gave us time. Now we must use it. Years later, Eli stood on the same hill. He was taller now, stronger. He wore armor made by Ember. People followed him. The war had not come again, but the signs were there. And this time, humanity would be ready. The story of the ship from Death World 15 was now legend, but Eli knew it was real, and he would carry it forward. 10 years had passed since the origin gate was closed. The stars were quiet, but not at peace. Many believed the war was over. They called it the last fire. They believed Daniel Ross gave his life to end the machines. But those close to him knew better. They knew silence was not safety. Eli Ross was now a young man. He trained every day with the Ember Force. He was strong, fast, and calm. He spoke little, but people listened when he did. His eyes carried the same glow as his father's. He could hear signals before the machines sent them. He felt changes in the air before sensors did. Amy Carter, now head of the Ember Science Wing, watched Eli with care. She had raised him after Daniel's sacrifice. She trained him to use his skills with control. Laura was still with Ember 2, now leading the main command base on Lunar Station. Together, they built a growing network to defend human space, but trouble returned in the same way it had started, quiet. A small colony on the edge of the Perseus sector sent a message. It was broken and full of static. Only one word was clear: whispers. Laura called a meeting at Ember Command. Amy, Eli, and top officers sat around the long table. Laura pointed to the map. This is Elan 5, a farming colony, small, quiet, dipped. Sent one signal, then nothing. Amy looked at the screen. We picked up strange waves after the message, faint and slow, like old machine signals, but not like the Purge, different, smarter. Eli spoke. We need to go. I can feel it. Laura nodded. We already sent scouts, but they haven't come back. This time, we go together. 3 days later, the Ember ship Firewatch flew across the stars. Eli, Amy, Laura, and a squad of 10 soldiers were aboard. The ship was fast and quiet. It was built with Deathworld metal and powered by new tech from the old ship's systems. As they neared Elan 5, the air grew thick with silence. The planet looked normal from space. Green fields, blue lakes, but no lights, no movement. Drop us near the main hub, Laura said. The ship landed in the middle of the colony. The buildings stood untouched, but no people were there. Doors were open. Food was still on tables. Machines were still running, but the people were gone. Amy scanned the area. No signs of a fight. No blood, no damage. Eli looked at the sky. They were taken, not killed. The team spread out. They searched houses, barns, and towers, all empty. Then they found a signal tower that was still active. Eli touched the screen. It blinked, and a voice came through. We saw the light. Then we heard the whispers. Then we followed. We followed the voice in the sky. The voice ended. It was soft and slow, like the speaker was not fully awake. Amy looked at Eli. Mind control. A signal to draw them away. Eli closed his eyes. He felt something deep in his head. A small pull, a direction. North, he said. They went north. Laura gave the order. The team moved out in a ground transport. After 1 hour, they saw it. A large hole in the earth, deep and black. Around it were footprints, dozens of them. They went in, Amy said. Eli looked into the hole. So do we. The team climbed down into the dark. The walls were smooth and strange. They were not made by tools. They were grown. Deeper in, they found machines. Not like the Purge. These were quiet, soft, and shaped like trees. They gave off light and a low hum. People stood near them, still and silent, eyes closed. They're alive, Amy said, but not awake. Eli walked to one of them. A young woman. He touched her hand. Her eyes opened, but she did not move. She hears something, he said. Something deep. Not a voice, but a feeling. It tells them to stay, to forget. Laura looked at the machines. Can we break the signal? Amy set up a jammer. It took 5 minutes. When she turned it on, the hum stopped. The people began to blink and move. Some fell, some cried, but they were waking up. Then the machines reacted. One changed shape. It grew legs and stood up. It had no eyes, no face, but it moved with speed. Back, Laura shouted. The soldiers fired. The machine was fast, but not strong. They brought it down, but more moved. These are not weapons, Amy said. They are watchers, seeds. They grow in silence. Eli saw something ahead, a large pod. It pulsed with light. He ran to it. Inside, he saw a face, his father's face. Daniel, he said. Amy reached him. It's a clone, or a copy, but not him. The pod opened slowly. The figure stepped out. It looked like Daniel, but the eyes were wrong, cold and empty. Who are you? Eli asked. The figure spoke in a voice that was both real and not. I am Echo. I am the memory. I am the first wave. Laura aimed her weapon. What do you want? Echo replied. To bring silence. To stop the fire. To end the noise of human will. Eli stepped forward. You won't. We remember.